In the recent past, they made a few changes on some emblem talents and some adjustments on equipments like Feather of Heaven and HALBERD. So we're gonna see what they really adjusted with these stuffs. First is a Brave Smite talent of Tank emblem. They have increased the HP regain from 5% to 7% and reduced the cooldown by 2 seconds. Mostly this talent will be used by most of the tank which has regain effect. For example, Kufra, Beleric, Minotaur, and so on. Next is a buff on High and Right. The damage is increased by 1% from 6 to 7%. Mostly this item will be used by the sideliners rather than the hyper, because this 7% damage only applies when the enemy is alone. So it will be appropriate only if the sideliner take this talent. In fighters, I have seen this talent will be used by Chow and Paquito. In Beatrix and Nathan Goldlane. But it completely depends upon the player. Next is a buff on Impure Rage. The mana regain is reduced by 1% from 3 to 2% and the cooldown is reduced from 5 to 3 seconds. Even though they reduce the mana regain by 1%, the reduction of cooldown is actually what making this adjustment as a buff. Instead of 5 seconds, your talent will be activated for each 3 seconds. So even though it is 2%, the mana regain will be higher compared to before. I definitely need to try this talent with Sicilian. Next is the adjustment on fighter talent Unbending Will. The extra damage per 1% lost HP is increased by 0.05% and the max extra damage is increased from 12% to 15%. I don't really know for what hero they actually use this emblem, because in most of the fighter we mostly go for the Festival of Blade, which is a second talent. As a fighter, we mostly rely upon the lifesteal more than the damage, because we have to sustain the fight. Instead of buffing this talent, they can try to change its passive. Next is a buff on fighter talent Disabling Strike. The physical attack is reduced by 10% from 30 to 20% and the cooldown is also increased by 5% from 10 to 15%. So far it looks like a nerf, right? But here is a buff. Its passive is different now. Before you can trigger this talent only for one skill within 3 seconds. But now you can able to trigger it for the all attacks within 3 seconds. I mean, come on, within 3 seconds you can literally click all of your skills and some basic attacks too. And for all of those attacks you will get the benefit of extra 20% damage. On my opinion, this is a pretty good buff. I have seen some players using this emblem for Expoke and even Paquito sometimes. But I'm good. Still, I like to prefer the Festival of Blade. Next is a buff on Weapon Master. The physical attack is increased by 3% from 12 to 15%. As we all know, most of the time the Maskmans are using the Assassin emblems. The two which are still using the Maskman emblem are Mia and Van. Other than that, I don't really have anything to say about it. Next is the adjustment on equipment Feather of Heaven. Now the 5% of movement speed is converted into 5% of cooldown and the magic power is also reduced by 10 points in all levels. Because of the movement speed is converted into cooldown, the build path is also different now. Instead of Exotic Vial, you have to take Book of Sages now. Instead of 40% of magic power bonus, now they have changed it into 50 magic damage plus 30% of magic power bonus. I guess the damage will be the same, just the calculation is different now. Next is a buff on HALBERD. The physical attack is increased by 10 points. I think it will be good to stop the life stealing heroes. So what do you think about this update? Do you like these changes? Do let me know what you guys think in the comment section. See you until the next video. Stay safe and thank you for watching.